Hey everyone, welcome to another Bob's Watches Rolex buying guide. In this video we're talking all about unisex Rolex watches and highlighting some of the top models that can be effortlessly worn by both men and women. Also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on our latest video content. Rolex has a long and well-documented history of producing watches for both men and women. With that in mind, Rolex also has a long history of producing mid-size watches, and the brand's been producing models that can be worn by both men and women since long before the concept of a unisex watch even existed. These days, men and women are both wearing a wider range of timepieces, and virtually anything could be considered a unisex watch. Although the vast majority of Rolex's sports watches are only available in what would typically be considered men's sizes, that does not in any way mean that they cannot also be worn by women. Many of Rolex's top sports watches have long histories of being worn by members of both sexes, and Rolex even now offers versions of some of their most famous watches in more feminine and gender-neutral color profiles. For example, since 1988, the Rolex Daytona has only ever been offered with a case size of 40mm. However, in more recent years, an increasing number of women have started wearing the Daytona, and Rolex has expanded the line to include a vast assortment of different metal options and dial colors to cater to a wider audience. The same is true for other high-profile collections such as the Day-Date President and GMT Master II. Neither is offered in a reduced size, however, the range of options available has continuously expanded over the years to broaden its appeal to members of both sexes. All of that being said, Rolex does offer categories for both men's and women's watches on their website, and there are a handful of models that appear in both. Typically, these watches are mid-sized models with case diameters that range between 31mm and 37mm. With that in mind, certain dial options definitely lean more towards either masculine or feminine aesthetics, however there are ample options that will appeal equally to both men and women. Throughout history, most of Rolex's men's watches, excluding their sports models, have typically had cases that measure between 34mm and 36mm, while the women's models have often had cases that clock in between 24mm and 26mm. In more recent years, the men's collection has expanded to include a number of 41mm models, while the standard size of women's watches has increased from 26 to 28mm. However, at 31mm in diameter, the mid-size Rolex Datejust 31 represents the middle point between the 28mm Lady Datejust models and the standard-sized men's version within the collection. Rolex also offers a 31mm variation of their current Oyster Perpetual watch, which again occupies the midpoint between the 28mm and 34mm models. Rather than offering a 34mm version of the Datejust, Rolex prefers to simply call this model the Date, and it offers all the same features and functionality of the standard 36mm Datejust, but in a slightly reduced package. Historically, 34mm has been considered a men's size in Rolex's catalog, but an increasing number of women have started wearing 34mm Rolex watches in recent years, making it a true unisex size within the brand's current lineup. Additionally, previous versions of the Rolex Air King all had 34mm case diameters, and although the current model is exclusively offered with a black dial and a rather chunky 40mm case, previous generations offer a significantly more compact profile and can also be found in a wide range of dial colors. 36mm is the standard size of Rolex's non-sport men's watches, and since 1945 the classic men's Datejust has had a case diameter of 36mm. However, 36mm is a truly versatile case size, and while Rolex originally designed it for male wrists, it's not so large as to be uncomfortable or look out of place on the wrist of a woman. There are ample options available for both Datejust and Day-Date watches with 36mm cases, and more women have started wearing these models due to the larger presence they offer compared to the traditional 26 and 28mm ladies' watches. Rolex also produces a 36mm version of their time-only Oyster Perpetual collection, making this highly versatile case size available at a significantly more affordable price point relative to the Datejust and Day-Date lines. Lastly, the only Rolex sports watch currently offered in multiple case sizes is the Yachtmaster. In the past, Rolex produced both mid-size and Lady Yachtmaster watches to be offered alongside the standard 40mm model. However, the brand now only offers one case size option below 40mm, and they've also introduced a larger 42mm version of the watch. Today, the Yachtmaster 37 represents the unisex offering within the collection, and its versatile 37mm sizing allows it to work equally well on both male and female wrists. With that in mind, an increasing number of women are also wearing the 40mm model, which further supports the claim that these days any Rolex watch is a unisex watch. It all comes down to personal preference and how you choose to wear it. For more information on Rolex's various unisex offerings, be sure to check out our Unisex Rolex Watches buying guide, and you can find the link for that in the description below. Thanks for watching our video on Rolex unisex watches. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on our latest video content.